Hey, everybody. Welcome back to school, and not just any school, the greatest school in the history of the universe, the Jefferson Street campus. It's Tuesday, January 5th, and right on time, here's your Team Tuesday meeting, the first one of the term. And we haven't seen each other in a while, so to get started, I'd actually just like to take a look back at a few scenes from the end of last term. So here we go.
1, 2, 3. Finally what you came for, finally what you hoped to find. Racing home from her house, looking out for black and white. Dark days in the summer, a million ways to toe the line. Can't wait, holy other, might as well be the seventh sign. Ooh, it goes hand in hand with fear for the afterlife. Ooh, how can we fight it if we don't even know why? While the dollar is strong, while nobody else relies, when they turn the corner, when you know we're out of sight. Dark days in the summer, in the rain, the water's fine. It was wild combination, either that or right down the line. Ooh, it goes hand in hand with fear for the afterlife. Ooh, how can we fight it? We don't even know why. I've been on the way, for so long. I've been on the way, for so long.
Well, it's become something of a truism or a joke or a meme. The 2020 was really something of a dumpster fire year, especially in America. Year's over. It's 2021, and that's something of an arbitrary boundary. A lot of the issues that were plaguing us and, the last year will continue into this year. And so, while I think we ought to always be optimistic and looking for cause to be positive, we also have to be realistic, I think, and keep in mind that really time persists in a linear fashion, and it continues today from yesterday. That said, I think that we had a really good, all things considered, first half of our school year. And it feels crazy to say that it's half over, but here we are in January. A whole semester, remember that's German, for half a year is over. And as we kind of talked about at the end of last term, this is a good time to reflect on, well, what we've accomplished, what we can improve on, what we did well, what we, all those kind of things. So, while I think we had a great first half of the year, I think we can, as always, continue to improve. And so I want to talk about a few things today that are reminders, new things, reorientations, whatever. So here we go. Team meeting, January 5th, 2021. 21. You're going to write it wrong a few times. So am I. Mask reminder. We are still in the middle of a pandemic. And in fact, things are as serious today as they have ever been. We have the most local cases that we've ever had. We have been relatively safe here on this campus and in schools in general, and a lot of that has to do with wearing masks. I know we're all tired of it, and I think there's been some fatigue set in and some holiday carelessness, but frankly, I have to be gone this afternoon. I'm going to my second COVID funeral in a month. This is very real. I don't know very many people who have not been personally affected by this at this point. So there's going to be times in this meeting when I start to get a little threatening, but that's my job. I'm the principal. I'm supposed to threaten you with discipline and stuff like that. But we are immediately going to treat mask violations as a discipline issue. Addie. Not just calling you out in particular. I think that we in general as a school, sometimes pulling them below the nose, this and that. Anthony, see to it that they are covering your face in the way that will actually make them effective. And I want to kind of go further on this and say that while this is a school rule, this is a good practice in your whole life. I've seen some of you out various places on the street, skate park, whatever. Outdoors is a different kind of environment where you can be maybe a little more free with your mask use, but this should be a practice in your whole life, everywhere you go. Anytime you're in public, especially in indoor spaces, but even a crowded outdoor space, you ought to be wearing a cloth mask properly. There's a concerted disinformation campaign in our country against masks for reasons that I don't fully understand. But it's harmful, it's dangerous, and it's stupid. So don't be stupid, people. Let's be smart. Okay, there's that. Masks, they're serious. I'm alone. No one's even gonna be here for like another half hour, so I'm not wearing one right now, so you can understand me. But that's it. All right. T2 final grades, that's term 2. Remember, term, we have 4 of those. Semesters, there are 2. You should have reports now or after this video, so you can see your final grades from last term, as if you didn't know. Those are also being mailed. We'll come back to those grades here in just a minute. But something new for this term, all VLC classes or credit recovery courses are 5th blocks. Those are additional classes. We're going to talk about engagement in a minute, but I really want to focus on the excellent things that are happening in our classrooms, during the day, and I want everyone to be included in those activities as much as possible. So, some of you require some additional credits to get to your graduation date on time. Now, if you are one of those people, and I'll be talking to you individually, and even if that's not you this term, it may be in a future term. You're in this spot because there was some stumble on the road, and you've got some work to do to make up for that lost credit. So really, while this is extra work, it's work that you've kind of earned. And so there is some extra responsibility here. If you have a 5th block, we are not carving out time in our school day for you to work on that. That is on you. And the expectation is that is like your other blocks, where you're spending 90 minutes a day in each one. So you need to treat this like a full 5th block. Now, if that means that you need to go to the library to use their Wi-Fi, so be it. It's right over there. It's really easy to get to. I walk there all the time. We also have Wi-Fi available outside of our building in the evening. That's true also at NHS. So you have some Wi-Fi opportunities. Also, we will, and you'll have more details on this soon, be offering a digital after-school study hall, what I'm calling DASH right now, so that, especially if you are one of those people, you can take advantage of our Wi-Fi and have access to a teacher tutor if you need that. And really, I'm open to anyone using that insofar as it is being used properly. So that will kind of be like an AST, but we won't assign those. But I will strongly encourage you to use that if you have a VLC class. Nothing stops you from finishing your VLC class early and wiping your hands of it. Like, that's a real psychological relief. And you don't want to do the opposite and get to the end of a term and be crunching. I know some people had that experience last term, and frankly, teachers were overly flexible with you because they're good people and want to try to help you. We're not doing that again. I feel like we've got enough experience under our belt now that expectations are going to be what they are, and you need to meet them. And, there might mean some sort of tough situations where you get to almost done with a project and then you fail a class if it's not finished. Some things need to be done when they are assigned. Well, everything should be, but we are going to really stress that this term. So do not rely on the excessive generosity of your teachers. Be responsible. Do your work. Academic contracts. This is where I get to the kind of threatening part. Actually, I meant to put this slide first, but it's kind of a somber, reminder. You'll notice right now that a number of, our students who are with us last term are not anymore. I've kind of mentioned this and reminded people throughout the term, hey, you're always working for your seat, and you could lose it if you're not taking advantage of it. And while we never ever want to do that out of practical necessity, it has to happen sometimes. And so we have now had 2 terms, in this school year, and our handbook policy says that if you are not earning credits for 2 consecutive terms, and that means all of your credits passing all 4 classes, then you are putting your seat at risk. And so students who did not earn all 4 credits in both terms are not on our roster anymore. They've been dropped. And that hurts. It sucks for them. It sucks for all of us. But frankly, it is not fair to let someone continue to occupy a seat when there are 200 people at the high school who could really use this opportunity. So we have to make that available to people who will take advantage of it. Now, this is a reminder for you to take advantage of your seat. We're going to get a little more specific about what that means in just a minute. But right now, I want to talk particularly to people who did not pass 1 or more of their classes in term 2. Now, again, you're getting your grade sheets here right now, or soon, or already have, I'm not sure which. But I will be visiting with individuals who did not earn all available credits in term 2 about your requirements this term to remain at JSC. And that's putting you in the hot seat a bit. I'm making this totally explicit to you and your parents so that you can't act surprised at the end of this term if you don't earn all your credits. If you are dropped from the roster, that is our policy. That is what will happen. And, you can hope that somehow there'll be some exception, but there won't be. You are right now, it's time to perform or depart. So see to it that every day you are doing everything you need to do to earn good grades. There are also attendance contracts. I will be visiting with a number of you with excessive absences last term with a, frankly, kind of unpleasant plan for this term because we need to very explicitly and closely watch your attendance. So we're going to do that. And intentionally, it will be slightly uncomfortable for you because we're going to meet every time you miss a day, and you have a writing assignment for me every time you miss a day. And if I don't get it, you'll be gone. So these are fundamental issues that we have to fix, or the big picture doesn't work. So now I want to talk, this is a little philosophy lesson. If you know me, you know this is one of my passions and what I studied in school. But philosophy, it's kind of a weird amorphous field, but one of its veins is making arguments and symbolic logic. And so that's the guts of how one thinks. And so I want to talk about attendance in terms of necessary and sufficient conditions for a moment. Okay, here is the nerdy academic definition of necessity and sufficiency. Attendance is a necessary but not sufficient condition for your success at this school. Now, what I mean by that is if you are not attending regularly, and typically our attendance policy is that you get 4 days in any given term, and anything over that, and you could be dropped immediately. This pandemic year is weird, but we are kind of tweaking the gears a bit to try to have this accountability piece, but also still some flexibility. So we're going to address these individually. Most of you come to school every day. I think you want to be here. You engage. It's great. But for those who haven't, we're going to deal with it. Now, necessary and sufficient. It is necessary. It is required. You cannot do well at this school if you are not regularly attending. Again, every day that you miss 4 90-minute blocks that have been curated by a teacher with lessons for you to learn something. And if you think that if you miss school and then go try to do your assignment in a few minutes and turn it in, that's an equivalent, it isn't. And so the more days you miss, the more of those 90-minute blocks you're racking up, and you will necessarily fail because if you're not here, you're not getting the instruction, you're not doing the activities, you can't do well. That said, it is not sufficient. It is not enough for you just to be present. While we love to bask in your presence and to see you here, see your face, that in itself is not enough. And, sometimes I think I hear people also with some misunderstandings about what is required. Oh, I'm here and I did this and this. What is required of you is to be fully engaged all day, every day while you're here. Now, can you be perfect all the time? No, nobody can. Can you be engaged here every day? Absolutely. This is 6 hours of the day. Not all of it super rigorous. Like, we have lunch, we have some fun activities, we have even cat time built into our schedule. We mix things up. But you cannot just come here and be here and pick and choose some assignments that you want to do and feel like that's enough. We want you to be the best that you can be, to be excellent, this is really for you. And sometimes it feels like as a young person, you're just being conscripted into school and people make you do it. And it's all to please adults and to satisfy rules. All this stuff has been built, though, to try to help you become the best person you can be, to have a good future, to have a good life, to have the skills required to participate in a democracy and in the information age. And it turns out all that's really hard. But it's worth it, because life can be rich and fun and rewarding especially when you have the means, material means, meaning money and house and, the comforts that people want. And also the personal qualities and traits that just make you interesting and effective at what you do, whatever it is you choose to do. Having choices is a great thing, but the less education and, frankly, material means that you have, the less freedom you have in life. And I think all of us, your teachers know people our age that things didn't work out the way that they thought that they would. And they feel kind of trapped at this point. And it's a sort of prison right out here in the free world. And that is a very tragic thing that we don't want for you. We want you to have a good life, and we want to be part of your story on how you got there. So, like I say, I know I'm being kind of threatening, but you need to know this information up front. And I'm telling you on day one of the term, because I want you to take it seriously so that you can do the things to be successful here, so that we don't have to deal with attendance violations and failing grades and pushing back graduation and things like this. We want to be successful. So we're trying to set the tone right here on day one. Do everything you need to do. Be here every day. We're on your team. Okay, do I have more stuff in the slideshow? Yes, cell phone reminder. They're not allowed in class. So teachers may be taking them up at the beginning. Deal with that. Like, that's, again, a strategy for you. I think most teachers, they're really just relocating them from your pocket or your desk to their desk like 3 feet away. So you've got the security that it's right over there, but it's not an immediate distraction. And that's a good strategy. We'll talk about the calendar in just a second, but before we do that, one last thing I wanted to mention is that, again, we had a good first half of the year, but there were some not great situations at the end in terms of finishing projects, and there were some tears and some stress, and I want to avoid that in the future. Part of in addition to just getting your grades and all the sort of basic stuff, part of your participating every day here is getting mixed up in class activities and the social life and things like that. But you kind of build a reputation. And, again, we're halfway through the year. I think we all know each other pretty well. That reminds me. I'm talking to you right now as veterans. This is day one. Everyone who is here right now is a returning student. So we all know each other pretty well. You've established a kind of reputation up to this point. That doesn't mean it can't change for better or worse, but you need to know that some of the privileges and freedoms and expectations that teachers have for you are based on your performance up to this point. And so if you have demonstrated that you're going to try to wiggle out of work and turn in kind of not so great things, and maybe be dishonest or get away with things that you got caught for, that we remember those things. And, your sort of, our future treatment of you is a reflection of that. And that's not a bias. That's not some kind of playing favorites. That is just humanity. That is the reality of how social life works. So, see to it every day that you're not only earning points and participating activities to learn, but that you are in the good graces of your teachers because you work well with them. And know that if you have not, up to this point, established the greatest track record, that you can improve on that. We do not hold grudges. We are not fickle, biased people. I think we try as hard as we possibly can to be fair and objective. But that said, one can fairly establish a track record of good performance or slacking off. And that follows you around, and it sort of, determines, you get in trouble a bunch. The boy who cried wolf, if he just goes around lying all the time, then people kind of stop trusting him. And if you always go around trying to get away with something, people become suspicious of you. And if you always, try to get away with doing as little as possible on assignments, people start to kind of see your work as that. And, the pattern emerges. And we're pattern recognizing creatures. So see to it that the pattern that you establish here is a positive one, that you are good to people, that you work well with your teachers, that you're accountable, that you're here every day, all those things. Now, again, I said everyone here right now, we've got 43 students right now, down from 52. There will be new people coming. We've got some recruiting to do this week. I'll remind you that it wasn't that long ago that you were a new person. I think in the past, sometimes, people have been like, I don't like new people. Be like, how long you been here? Like 3 months? Sometimes it can feel like you've been here forever. But sometimes that's kind of scary. Sometimes these people could use your help. And what I'm saying is I want you to be leaders as veterans, to show people around, to be kind to them, to contribute to the positive culture we have on campus, and it is an excellent positive culture. So again, as we see new people, help them make this transition and show them a positive example, how to start right. So be good this afternoon. Like I say, I've got to go. This is not a pleasant thing for me, but it is something I need to do. Be safe. Engage in your classes. That's really our biggest value around here, and the rest will take care of itself if you are really dedicated to participating in your classes. So see to it that you're doing that. It's great to see you back here, and let's have a great term 3, semester 2, however you want to think about that. We'll see you. Nearly forgot the calendar review, but here it is. Today is Tuesday the 5th. You, students, returned. We'll have cat time on Friday during second block, 4th, 1st, 3rd, etc. On the 18th of this month, we will not have school on Monday because that's a teacher work day. Now, skipping ahead, we got January, February, March. The end of this term is on Friday, March the 5th. So that's kind of our chunk of time we're working for this term. We got spring break and then our 4th term. In the middle, there's another PLC day on February the 15th. But otherwise, we've got a pretty solid chunk of school from now until March the 5th. So you've got a ton of reference there. Make sure you're following this calendar. This will be populated quite a bit throughout the term. So mind the calendar. See you later.